Digital Chaos game number 2. After game number 1, a quite disappointing defeat for MVP Phoenix despite having an advantage and seemingly winning the game for 35 minutes plus. One critical error turns the whole entire game into Digital Chaos's favor, who managed to play the game very slow but very patiently, close it out, and are now one game up over MVP Phoenix.
The turtle always wins the race.
The turtle always wins the race. That analogy kind of fits. I feel like DC is a bit of a slower team. I think they're more mid-game focused. I don't think their laning phase is quite up to snuff of MVP Phoenix, whereas MVP Phoenix are obviously known for their hyper-aggression and very hair-like attitude.
I mean, the thing is that MVP, they were in such comfortable control of that game, and I think that one decision to go for bottom when Resolution was hitting top, you don't. The thing is, it reminds me of when Secret played a game. I can't remember when, but Envy was playing Morphling. He's trading racks in that exact same situation, and you don't realize the speed in which this Morphling can take a set of racks.
Yeah.
You pump everything to Agi. You're not worried at all. You split the Manta. You've got all the time in the world to work with. MVP thought that the call hitting and the Morph not having a TP was a blessing, but
turned out to be one hell of a curse instead.
You know what would have happened if he had that TP right? He would have gone bottom.
Yeah, he would have gone bottom, defended,
and they would have gone destroyed.
Yeah.
That is not a close fight whatsoever. That's they lose that fight, that's GG. Then MVP is like, okay, cool. We did what MVP does. We just do the MVP game, and instead it turned into whatever that was.
Well, game number 2 on its way, and MVP Phoenix apparently saying, you know what? We did well enough last game. Let's go ahead and draft as similar, at least in the opening anyway, as we did for game number 1. Bounty Hunter and Lifestealer as a duo instead of the Riki Lifestealer, as Riki did get banned away by Digital Chaos this time around.
All right, I've got to ask. Is it Ricky or Riki?
It's whatever you want it to be.
Okay, because I've always said Ricky.
Yeah. Ricky. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Am I saying Riki?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I bounce back and forth. Whenever I have a name like that is kind of close, like tomato, I kind of just back
I was
back
like,
and
am
forth.
I an idiot?
It just kind of depends on,
Caramel and caramel?
Yeah.
I say caramel.
It depends on the sentence at hand and what sounds better to me.
I see. Thank you guys, by the way, for joining us for this broadcast. I know this, out of the 3 teams playing, this might be one of the least hype, but so far, I mean, these teams have delivered. That game,
if you've watched game number 1, you're hype as hell when it comes to game 2.
Stick with us, guys.
Don't go anywhere else.
We're the
don't touch that dial.
We're like the 4th best casting combo that they could have put together. There's doesn't get that much better than this.
There's only 3rd, 2nd, and 1st.
Yeah, dude, being like 5th best in the world at being a casting duo is not that bad. Come on, that's what are you realistically behind? Like OD Pixel and anybody, LD and anybody, Toby and anybody, then maybe like Toby plus somebody, like Toby and a try, and then you've got Cap and Blitz.
I like how you made that about the play-by-play casters and not about the analysts.
Dude, I already know.
You're such a dick.
I already know that I'm not getting a finals because I'm being held back by you. I'm just saying, like, when I got to join Dota, guys, I had a chance to choose who to hitch my star to, and I looked at this guy with like the weirdest haircut in the world, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go with that one instead of the incredibly successful and popular Toby.
Blitz is like, I will tie myself to this anchor. Let's go swimming now.
What is life without challenges? As MVP told themselves after they lost that first game. They've got to learn how to bounce back after that one.
Well, they're going to have one hell of a challenge on their hands, as that is a Lifestealer facing up against one of Lifestealer's mortal enemies, the Ursa Warrior.
I will say, though,
yes?
I'm almost always going to go by what I've seen in play experience. I think Lifestealer can do okay against Ursa, because you can kite with the open wounds. That's the most important part. And you don't necessarily just instantly get bursted. Like, some cores just get whomped on by Ursa. Like, Jug spins, and Ursa gets a basher, and he's like, lol. But
yeah, spin is actually detrimental. You like use the spin for some reason, and all of a sudden Ursa jumps you, and you're like, oh god, I can't Omni Slash. I can't Omni Slash.
The thing, though, is that Ursa gets you in a checkmate position, because if you Omni, he just, it takes no damage.
Yeah.
That's pretty
At
much
that
the
point,
noise.
at that point, you're praying for RNG. You're like, Omni Slash to someone else, bounce to somewhere else.
One time I was playing against Moon Meander, I was like Jug, he was Enchantress. I go up top, I Omni Slash him. It just like it goes the opposite direction. It hits the creep once and it just bounces away. I got so lucky.
10 seconds.
And that's why he's here at TI.
Yeah.
And
That
you are
moment
here
would have
with me.
determined my future.
All right. Well, an Ursa Warrior and a Wisp paired up against a Lifestealer and a Bounty Hunter. And now a Lich. Seems the Lich armor coming into play against the Ursa Warrior. Is that slow actually effective enough to... Because you could have had any sort of stun or slow or even a saving mechanism to try and kite the Ursa, but instead you're playing the more slower passive armor and slow game?
Yeah, and also something that I remember that MVP did when I was still with Liquid back in Manila. They did this actually when they 2-0 Liquid. It was that game where they decided to off-4 the Lifestealer and the Lich in the off lane to combat the Ursa because they realized that this dual lane is very strong against Ursa. Because Ursa has that build-up period. He's very good against one-on-one melee cores and most offlaners, but he's very poor against this kind of lineup where you can get aggressive. But that does mean it'll confirm it if MVP essentially take 2 solo heroes.
Yeah.
You need 2 heroes that'll do very well against their respective offlanes, but Digital Chaos, I think they read the situation, so they take Batrider, probably one of the best 1v1 pure offlaners.
In which case, do you... what are some of the heroes that match up against Batrider completely solo?
Completely solo is hard to say.
Yeah. That is pretty rough. Well, we'll see. MVP Phoenix. And this also, in a way, right, it shifts the farm priority of Lifestealer. He goes from being a 1 or 2 position to that 3 offlaner, where the Ursa and his somewhat counter doesn't mean as much. Nyx Assassin can solo against Batrider.
Can he?
Yes. It's rough in the very beginning.
Because you just get sticky.
Yeah, you get sticky napalm like every other hero. But if you have Magic Wand... You play off of, you get a lot of impales because you have Magic Wand. Obviously, you're getting free mana. You can do this, and it's not that you're going to win the matchup, but it's probably, you know, you're a Nyx Assassin.
Yeah.
There aren't many laning phase matchups that go well for you, but you are going to get solo experience. You're going to get a decent amount of creeps, and it's about what happens after the laning phase for a Nyx Assassin that determines his success.
It's what they used to do with Misery when he used to play on Seeker. Remember, they always gave him the one-on-one matchup.
Yeah.
With the Nyx Assassin because they understood this hero has absurd base regen. All right, enough about the draft. I want to talk about the players themselves because that's what really matters here.
Sure.
I remember when I first got to Korea, QO was just this clown. He was on this team called 5 in Q.
Yep. Yeah.
Which he apparently that Q was meant to be something different, but this guy when he submitted the name to the Korean, he made sure it was 5 in QO. So that's the first part. So I knew this guy was a little bit cocky. And we used to just like argue all the time about stupid stuff. Like it'd be anything. And he was just the tiltiest player. Like Bambo would just read him like a book, you know? It's like Bambo would just like go to download Game of Thrones illegally, you know, and it's just titled like QO, and he's like, all right, got this file now. And I remember that QO just used to tilt all the time, and all of a sudden it felt like he just flipped the switch where everybody on the team started tilting with him in this weird way where it started working out. Like, because QO would just make these plays where he would go in 1v5, and you're like, what? And then you're like, all right, free win. And the rest of his team would just watch him, and now it feels like MVP, instead of trying to pull that back, like a lot of players you would try to change their nature. You would say, dude, you are a good player, but you need to stop that. But instead they're like, all right, we'll run with you. We don't care how stupid this looks. We're just going to follow you in, and I think that is so awesome. That is one of the few times I think where a team is just completely tailored around a player. They said QO was our star player. Regardless, if you want to play this YOLO style of Dota, we're going to play this YOLO style of Dota. I hope people recognize the brilliance of that even more, and they get to see why this team is so unique in that regard.
And this is in many ways why MVP Phoenix have seen so much success with their rather unusual playstyle and decisions in game. Digital Chaos, the Razor, and Earth Spirit now.
Yeah. On the flip side of things, I mean, DC, all of their players, I mean, they're great guys. I actually do enjoy talking to all of them individually. And I remember it was post-Summit. I was in an Uber back with, I think it was Saksa, and he was just telling me, he was saying he was somewhat worried about this event, but he said at the end of the day, it's a TI. You don't get any other unique opportunity like this in your life.
Yeah.
This is one of the few times in your life where you can definitively say, I'm the best at something. I don't think there's very many opportunities in life to do that. You know, oftentimes like somebody will tell you like, oh, you're the smartest in your class, and when you're younger, you believe it.
Yeah.
There's no.
And then you go to college and
Yeah.
find out that there's a lot of smart people out there, and they're smarter than you.
Yeah, because there's no it's very rare to definitively prove in anything in life that you're the best at something, and TI is that opportunity. So MVP versus DC, game number 2, Digital Chaos. They Suns fan their way into game number 1.
And can they do it again in game number 2? The draft is here. Blitz Dota. It's looking like we may still see that Lich Lifestealer that you were talking about, but the rest of the draft, do you think MVP Phoenix actually won it? They could have like Ursa mid versus Phantom Assassin and Razor bottom instead against that.
I don't know. I think they might actually just have to dual lane mid. I think this pick of this Razor and this Ursa are very good by Digital Chaos. Like all of their cores are very self-sufficient, and that's what I really like. I think DC might have just won the draft.
All right, real quickly, prediction time.
Oh, how many did you get right last time?
1.
Oh, I got 2.
I mean, I just YOLO'd it because I thought we were doing it together.
Dude, you know what I got? I got the least deaths one. MP won that.
I got the Raxus one.
Yeah, MP won that. I got that one too. All right, when will first blood happen? 0 to 3 minutes. I believe in you, Febby slash.
All right, I said 3 to
Febby
6
slash
minutes.
Misery.
Roshan. That's
win.
DC. They got an Ursa, even if they are Radiant side. And last one. Oh, I mean, that's a crapshoot. Who places the most observer wards?
No,
like,
it's not, because I already know.
All right,
I've
whatever,
hidden them
dude.
from you.
Oh, you serious? I look over. Blitzdota has closed his predictions.
I'm pretty
just
sure.
So I can't.
Dude, don't cheat, man.
All right, whatever.
Learn to independently think for yourself, man. That's what my mom taught me when she
Listen.
left me at home alone at 8.
Listen, I went to school. I thought I was the smartest in class, and then I went to bigger schools.
Then you just went outside and you're like, wow, I'm really not. You just walked around your block once.
Yeah, I mean, when I was homeschooled as an only child, I was told I was the smartest in class, you know? But then I went out into the real world and determined that was not the case.
I mean, I could have told you that within like 3 seconds, but... All right, here we go.
You guys know when Blitz originally met me, he had a very negative opinion of me.
I did. It was the haircut. I'm not gonna lie.
Whatever, dude.
All right, here we go. DC, Wee's gonna pick up this rune. He's gonna have the help of this Wisp, and like we talked about, these are gonna be the self-sufficient cores. Wee was gonna have a good matchup no matter who he was against mid.
Yeah.
QO, it's 3 melee cores regardless of how you look at it, but we did guess it right. Or I say we again. Forev is going to be soloing with this Nyx up at top, and DC's actually read that. They have seen an MVP Phoenix game before.
Uh-huh.
They have learned from Manila, where they did this Lich Lifestealer combination to go against the Ursa, and they put the Bat Rider up here instead. This is very well read by DC, and
how much do they continue? Like, you just leave Resolution and Soxa up here, right? And Misery. I'm surprised that he's not already like starting in the mid lane to kind of help mitigate Febby's harassment at mid, or is it just not needed? Is Ursa just completely self-sufficient and doesn't need a roamer? Like
Ursa doesn't need help against the PA.
Yeah,
the PA is primarily just gonna have to farm in this early level. He does have a really good harass mechanic in this stifling dagger.
But roll in. This could be our first blood.
No,
slow down, and not the case. Forev hits the stun. And will manage to survive.
Trust in Armored Beetle, man.
that regen coming into play now.
Yeah.
It's already taken a lot of harassment. Meanwhile, at the bottom lane, we've got MP and Dubu, Lifestealer, and the Lich up against Moo's Bat Rider, and his camps have been blocked away from him. So he's gonna have to try and make this work the best he can. You don't think they should have matched Bat Rider against Nyx Assassin and put the Razor against the Lifestealer lane?
I don't think there's any combination of laning right now that really benefits MVP.
Okay.
Like, the best that you're going to do is win one lane definitively, but other than that, this is the downside of picking 3 melee cores, is you put yourself into a position where this Ursa is going to be effective, and Febby's going to get rolled on top.
They had a counter ward, but they do not drop it, seeing as they don't have any follow-up disables. They really need a dust if they want to be able to kill Febby with this kind of lineup.
I do like that they took the Earth Spirit instead of something like the Ogre this time, because what we saw in that last game is realistically you can't just rely on this Bat Rider to get the initiation off every single time.
So Misery will continue to hold his presence in the jungle here. Gonna try and interrupt Ferev's pull. Ferev is getting a lot against the tri-lane though. Maybe not so much CS, but he's getting pretty full experience. And now they're actually gonna rotate the Lich here.
Oh, this is very good, especially if they can go on Misery like this. But
maybe he's gonna actually take a lot of creeps here. And surprise, there's an extra nuke here. They've got the first blood, or just before the 3-minute marker. Congrats, Blitz Dota.
1 for 1 in the prediction so far. I told you can't cheat off of me, man.
I was 10 seconds off.
10 seconds too late. Yo, what is that quote from Fast and the Furious?
I don't know, dude. That's your movie.
Oh, Febby is so dead. I'm just lying.
Gonna be stunned up here. Weeha's
oh no, Febby! You should have got up!
Febby's definitely
You
dead.
fool!
If he just kept running, he could have actually survived long enough that the dust would have faded, but...
We gave up on that. He's like, alright, I'm not getting this. And then Febby juked to the right.
Evens out the game, 1-1. As Weeha returns back to his mid lane. Does seem to be having a pretty good time, but seems like QO having an even better time when it comes to CS, at least in the beginning here. 21-7 for him compared to the 15-2 of Wee.
Yeah. Meanwhile, QO
20% evasion, but Weeha is a whiffing machine over there.
QO's done quite well in this lane, like unexpectedly so. Saksa gonna deny this rune up at top. QO instead gonna go for this bottom one almost immediately. And Resolution just continues to be relatively self-sufficient in this lane.
I like how they just left the Lifestealer alone in this lane at a certain
They have to.
Like that obviously the surprise rotation worked out really well, but it's even just the fact that Lifestealer can be self-sufficient once he gets a little bit of levels against a Bat Rider.
Yeah, I think this is the best possible situation so far that MVP could hope for. Even though Resolution's getting a fair amount, it's at the end of the day, it's a Razor. Like, the downside of this hero is it's not this fantastic playmaking hero that can do it all. It's not somebody that you're inherently worried about too much. That's almost always the drawback of these lane-dominant heroes is they don't transition like you'd want them to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you would pick them all the time, Cap.
Vipers and Razors for everyone.
QO?
And he turns. Get some damage on Febby.
You're scaring me, MVP.
The interaction between overpower and evasion, you keep the attacks, right?
Yeah. Oh!
QO.
Be careful,
a bit
QO
more
friend.
damage here. Saksa helping
Weeha
out. Turns on Febby.
Okay.
Almost pops him.
Saksa's
And
going for the kill.
A little bit more. They've got him. They get the kill on that harassive bounty hunter. And Weeha thanks his support and will receive even more help now as he gets some extra regen from that bottle.
This is why Wisp is going to win the Arcana vote. It's plays like that that inspire people.
Much to your derision.
Dude, I
know you want Juggernaut real badly.
I'm thinking of people that miss tethers. They don't know how overcharge
You
works.
can't miss tether.
Yes, you can, dude.
Tether a creep instead.
I mean, somebody told me it was impossible to doom a creep, but you know, live your life.
But Blitz Dota made it happen.
Yeah, live your life, guys. Don't let anybody tell you can't do anything.
Saksa gets the tether away. They were kind of moving into this jungle. MVP Phoenix, very early rotation and invasion into the Radiant jungle, trying to put some pressure and catch Digital Chaos off guard, as they do have those self-sufficient cores in lane just to be able to make these kind of rotations.
Ferev just hit level 6, and I expect him to start making moves. They've decided to move Mu up here, who doesn't have that much HP. Fortunately for Ferev, he's going to immediately go away as soon as he popped that ultimate. He's going to waste this first Vendetta charge. Maybe even decides to make his way mid if he's fast enough, but probably not going to have enough time for this. There are no sentry wards set up though for DC, and that's a bit of a scary situation. That's why you see Resolution and Misery at bottom hiding by this tower, because they anticipated Ferev to TP Vendetta right there and make the play, and Weeha
doing something very similar.
Yeah, they're all just waiting because they know there's no reason to just feed away this first engagement for F, because he's also wasting time.
Fortunately, you don't get punished as hard as you used to anyway. And the next assassin is caught out with these kind of rotations now that the duration has been increased to a whopping 40 seconds as opposed to the 20 seconds it used to be. Did mean that Digital Chaos had to spend a lot more time not farming and sitting on their tier 1 towers.
Oh, this is pretty important that Forev shows himself at top now.
Yep.
That does confirm a little bit for DC. They should know then that Forev still has the TP available.
He hasn't had the meet through. Oh, Saksa gets picked off. There it is. The Infest combination comes out. And they do need those kind of kills, not just for MP's progression, but also to give Febby the experience to get that faster level 6 and start those bounty kills rolling in.
And Forev really doesn't want to be up here. The unfortunate thing, though, is it's a free lane.
To jump on Weehop, but the turnaround plus the help from the Wisp will make it so QO has to back himself up, and now they've got a double damage to refill that bottle if they want.
Spirit power. Get hit by the spirits.
Got double bottles.
Alright, so Moo.
QO coming bottom. MP, they think he's a little out of sorts, but never mind. Digital Chaos quickly realize that there's reinforcements coming in. The dagger flies, but a clean escape from Misery, but maybe not so much for Resolution. It's going to be Dove here behind the tier 1 tower. A good kick comes through, nails QO, but MP managed to get off the rage off first. Resolution goes for the TP out and will be able to make his way to safety.
Yeah, they're going to find Misery here, though. He does still have the rolling boulder available, but immediately pops.
He ends up going down. Febby shows himself in mid as the TP comes in from MVP Phoenix.
We just getting harassed up a little bit, but not much going to happen after that fact. And the first rotation wasn't successful from Forev, but the second one hits the mark.
Oh, to be clear, the interaction we were talking about earlier, Overpower, which gives the Ursa this big attack speed for a certain number of attacks. If he's going on this Phantom Assassin and he misses, it doesn't count against him for those charges.
Oh, does it not?
I believe so. I mean, that's what I was asking you.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it doesn't. I think it counts as a hit.
Oh, it counts? Okay.
Yeah,
I know
it is a hit.
I know at one point in time it didn't count against it, but
I thought you were talking about Fury Swipes for some reason.
well, yeah.
I don't look at like half the skill names because I'm just ignorant.
That's not terribly surprising.
Learning something new every day, though.
10 minutes in.
MP's almost got well, he's got a Helm of Iron Will. Once he gets the armlet, I'd imagine that he just keeps popping into Febby or this Nyx Assassin and just
Poor little ball of light. Squirrel is too cruel for you. So nuke damage goes out. Lich is gonna be pushed back. Moo hiding away because there are a lot of heroes off map right now. And that tier 1 tower is actually no safety. Not against MVP Phoenix. There was an Infest Bomb inside of Forev just waiting, and a full rotation from QO with a nice little haste rune to make it all the more efficient for him.
Game going somewhat similar to the last game is DC not really being able to keep up with the pace. Their laning phase was somewhat... Actually, it was really good, but post-laning phase has been too kind for them as MVP or first team to make these rotations, and
as a result, they're going to do a lot of damage on this tier 1 tower. Moo not going to give up the tower so easily, though. We'll have a repeat performance here in the off lane.
They really need to get levels on Saksa.
Yeah.
A Wisp without level 6, it's not nearly as impactful. And at some point, DC are going to have to make a move just so that they can secure themselves the Roshan. Because if you look at MVP Phoenix's lineup, they have very easy ways to do Rosh. Yeah. That is the one benefit that PA really begins to give you, just because you can keep breaking the Roshan Lincolns with the Stifling Dagger, you can Phantom Strike on top of it, the evasion is quite good against him.
Febby taking a lot of experience there, away from the creep camp that Moo was farming up.
Yeah.
Gets his level 5. That bounty, that track is coming in soon.
Once they get level 6, I'd imagine MVP just start to get aggressive like they did in the last game. Just get all over the map. Proceed to take whatever advantages you can, and then from there, the game becomes a lot easier, right? You can go for a Roshan of your own and do what you did last game, minus the whole, you know...
Counterward spots out Febby. Are they going to realize, though, that this is just not a bounty hunter alone. I think they do. They don't try and turn on Febby whatsoever.
They learned from last game.
Yeah.
They conditioned themselves, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
After that last game, I'm pretty sure DC said, guys, they do this all the time. It's so annoying. Don't die to it. And this is such an intelligent move. They're immediately going to make this way up to top. They know that MVP aren't in the best position just because they've invaded this bottom, and at best, MVP is going to get a trade here.
Yeah. If they play this the right way, they'll go ahead and just go for the push or maybe the gank on mid. Worst thing they could do right now is actually try and rotate and stop that push top lane as they just run into a smoke. MVP Phoenix with a smoke of their own. Or pass through the mid lane, but start heading up to the 12-minute runes. They're going to run into Saksa and will be able to pop him almost immediately. No tether saved there. Resolution now takes the nuke, already down to half HP with a Rage Lifestealer over the top. That will be twofer for MVP Phoenix. Maybe make it a third. Misery also going to be caught here. Fred managed to get the stun onto him. Oh, third kill picked up by MVP Phoenix as they can now pressure mid lane.
I need people to know that that was a really unique move that MVP made. It reminds me of how TI4 newbie played. They played with such speed right there. They decided not to go for that bottom trade. Almost any other team at this tournament would just go for the trade. We've seen that how many times in this tournament already? You go for the top one. DC made the very smart play, rotating out of there immediately. But instead, MVP, they don't spend any time at this bottom lane, Austin. Yep. They don't farm any camps. They just immediately move their way up. They're anticipating taking the fight around here, and they're willing to take that fight.
Yeah.
That is...
And as a result, they run into Digital Chaos midway through the river.
Yeah.
Catch them off guard.
I know it sounds weird that I'm so impressed by something that looks so basic, but in terms of team mentality, it is unique.
Man, you could just really see why they are willing to pick up that Riki Lifestealer, or in this case, the Bounty Lifestealer combination. It speeds up that pressure that we were talking about that MVP Phoenix are so good at putting down. And now they're going to jump onto Weehaw. They've already taken away all of his mana. The extra bit of nukes. Weehaw will be able to get off the enrage. Now goes for the TP out with the help of Saksa. Oh, he makes it out.
You are unbelievable.
Holy
Both
cow.
games in this series so far. It's made so many clutch plays for them, and that would have been a huge kill for MVP to be able to get. Maybe they even proceed to push into that mid tower, but also really well done by Saksa reading the situation.
Roll in, misses Kiwo. He actually moved himself backwards there in a critical dagger. Actually put Misery here in a position where he may die if he doesn't get away from Febby in time. Pops the dust.
That's
good
very
read
smart.
there. And now they may actually get a kill for it. They start dragging back Febby. Good kick is actually going to nail both. Unfortunately, though, QO is able to get in range and starts getting a turnaround. But Tubu, that's going to be a 2-for-1 special, apparently. Make it 3? Not quite. MP with the Rage and TP out.
Do manage to get out, but they do get 2 return kills for what it's worth. And now Kyo gonna immediately head towards mid, but really good rotation by DC. Misery read that situation. He understood he was gonna die, but manages to throw out that dust just through pure game sense.
Is there a point? It seems like MVP Phoenix, they keep on trying these the Lifestealer rotation and playing that very, very fast. Digital Chaos, whether it's game 1 and making the reads, making the adjustments, are grouping up very early on, and it seems like MVP Phoenix are kind of hitting their head on a brick wall here. They're actually going to go down for this. QO already very low. The chain cross is bouncing around expertly, though. It's going to be able to land on a move one more time. QO only having out for the flame break. A little bit more damage. They got him in the end. Weehaw, surrounded by 2, though, is going to be shurikened up, and it bounced over to Moo. He tries to make his way to the cliff, but not in time. And now it is MVP Phoenix who will take the clearance sale, 1 for 3, plus some bounty gold from the track kills.
Big difference there is that I think MVP should have lost that fight if everybody from DC is ready. And that's the key here, is that DC are not willing to 5-man as quickly as MVP are. And that is a mistake because I think they're underestimating their own strength. This Razor will not die in this fight. He's got 1200 HP, a lot of armor to work with, tons of movement speed. If he just continues to drain one of the heroes, he's perfectly okay. I think DC had the right idea, just wrong execution.
Once again, that little bit of a disjoint that we've talked about, that we've seen from Digital Chaos, rears its ugly head in a fight that could have gone their way, but is ultimately lost due to an execution of team coordination.
Yeah. I do think that DC is reading this game really well. It's just, they're not fully committed to ideas.
5
And
to
now
12.
Razor, gonna farm it top. You have to play around this Razor. I think they're kind of treating Razor like they were Morph last game, but this hero is meant to just pure fight.
Yeah, very, very different kind of ideas. Razor, all about the 15 to 25 minutes, all about fighting it up. Doesn't offer you the same kind of late game progression that a Morphling does. Once again, MVP Phoenix have got themselves multiple cores that can scale into the late game. They're going to hit super hard at like 35 minutes.
Yeah, DC are smoked up. They really want to get this pick off or this Roche attempt as MVP are going to run into them first.
The MVP Phoenix will keep some of their invis. Unfortunately for Ev, with his fresh Blink Dagger, unable to snatch Weehaw in time. And a clean escape for DC. Should be very happy with that because they do have two heroes top right now. They are getting the farm efficiency advantage here as long as they don't get picked off.
That would have been huge for MVP, but DC very smartly sensed that. They all managed to get out. And MVP looks like they're just going to immediately smoke up again and make their way up top. They don't bother farming anything on the way, and I think this is a good move. But DC, they've got to recognize their strength. If they ball up together, it's going to be a hard fight for MVP to take.
A fresh Desolator now complete for the Phantom Assassin. Things are ramping up for MVP Phoenix, but they can't quite get their claws
might just be running
on
up into
DC.
a trap.
Oh, Forev jumps in, pops the Spike Carabase, looks for the stun, but immediately gets bounced up, and now he should be dead to right. MP looks for Misery instead, will be able to run him down. Oh, the bounce around, Chain Frost, Soxa will be able to get himself enough space, but Resolution, he gets space as well. The Flame Break stops just enough attacks for them to be able to complete that TP, and Moo,
so by himself.
he'll get away. It's all leaving Weehaw by himself, though. He turns, he's going to be kited around, and should end up going down without a kill, as yes, the Infest and the crits come through in time. This time, MVP Phoenix will win the fight.
Thought for a second that DC should have been able to get out with that fight, but everybody just kind of turned tail and ran. That Chain Frost really started to split them up. And that Nyx Assassin, that was a bold attempt. He knew they were up there. Yeah. He was like, okay, my invis is out. This is the best that can happen out of this. DC, they're going to go for the chase. They might even have the move speed still.
And Resolution gets a lot of damage away from the Lifestealer and turns it on to Dubu, who's going to hide himself in the trees, goes for the TP out, but they do have the vision. Resolution now trapped against creeps, though, won't be able to run down QO. They just get the one kill in the support, and they will be happy enough with that.
Still, they defend that top tower. They pick up a kill for all their troubles, and they're in an okay position. I think the big thing for them, though, is they have to understand the strength of this Razor and what he's going to do for you. This hero is not an absolute beast in the late game. You kind of have to make a lot of these mid-game plays and utilize his strengths in that way. The good news for them, though, is that all of MVP's cores are melee, so he can continue to scale, but he just doesn't have the mobility and the presence to split farm or anything like that. Eventually, you are going to have to take a 5-on-5 fight with this hero.
And we've seen Digital Chaos's hesitance of taking 5-on-5s against MVP Phoenix, who do seem to offer a bit better execution in that regard.
Yeah, and this is what we talked about. And the fact that TA can go for this Roshan early on.
Digital Chaos can't give this one up. They needed to be able to maintain control of that bottom half of the map, especially with an Ursa. They may still be able to get it. Half HP.
Like crazy. They've got to read the situation. Ursa needs an Aegis so bad in this game.
They need a kick out from the Earth Spirit, something to be able to give them the heads up of what's going on inside the Roshan pit. Moo is just not willing to make that move forward, and MVP Phoenix will get the Roshan. And now the rotation over. MVP Phoenix scrambling to find more.
DC's got to be careful. They're stuck here, though.
They are actually getting trapped in. Forev looking for the impale. Will be able to hit it on Misery. Not quite the target he wanted. He wanted Moo, but will still be able to get him thanks to the Spike Carabase. Gets a little bit of space. The force staff forward. Moo will be able to get the Blink Dagger. No, the dagger comes in and a crit. Executes him. Resolution now is left with him and Soxa up against QO. They will be able to take away the Aegis, but a crit again. Unbelievable. Weehaw comes in. Looks for MP. The armlet toggle not going to be enough against the Ursa Warrior. QO jumps over to him. Weehaw fights against him and he wins it. Shuriken not enough. Blink forward. Forev gets the kill and manages to get the impale onto Resolution as well. But he's going to be run down here. Resolution He still has the ultimate out. Nope, not quite enough. Oh, swift Misery to the nuts. Misery gets him, rolls through, misses Bebby, but they've got the dust. Bebby, he suicides himself into the tier 4 tower, but it's Resolution who claims the kill, and he will be the big winner of that team fight as well.
Very well done by DC. Thought for a second with that Aegis available, there's no way they're going to win that fight, but QO, he thought, okay, my evasion is going to pull through ahead in this fight, and I don't think he got a single mischance right there. I think Ursa just kind of went toe-to-toe. He's like, all right, I'm dead. Let's just hope for the best here. And he got it.
MP.
QO was so certain he was going to win that duel.
Especially with 2 other heroes backing him up. It's just not the case. He already spent all of his RNG on those crits earlier, where he managed to kill the Wisp with the dagger, and Moo as well.
Very well done, though, by DC. And now Resolution, he has got so much farm as the prime beneficiary of all these setups around him. We talked about it, though. You have to read the strength of this Razor correctly, and they have. They're now centering all the fights. They're willing to take these fights. Because they understand. They simply just won't kill our Razor. Now he's got a plate mail, probably going to go for the Shivas.
So if you're looking at the construction of these fights that DC need to force, how do you do this? Do you use the Ursa Wisp to push one side of the map and go hunting with Resolution, Moo, and Misery on the other side and try and play off of that relocate efficiency, or continue to 5-man? It seems like MVP Phoenix, all right, full on 5-man, but a one kick for Misery. The silent follow-up, and Chain Cross gonna bounce around here. Might just play enough havoc to turn this fight back into their favor. A roll on through. Misery catches Dubu, but there's too many heroes. Weeha's gonna scare away the MP. They're gonna force that forward, and they have to suffice with just the Bug instead. And the Lich himself, he'll end up going down. They surround the tier 1 tower. Digital Chaos get MVP Phoenix into their claws and claim 4.
That was so much damage that the Razor stole. He effectively stole 200 plus all the time. The Life Stealer couldn't get any of his damage out like he wanted to, and DC, I mean, these guys, they were down 3k net worth at one point. They gave up an Aegis to a team that features an Ursa. One point they were down 3, almost 4k experience, and they've just turned everything around. So impressive by them. It doesn't look the cleanest from them, but they're just making it work.
What do you think that was? I mean, I know it's the playstyle of MVP Phoenix, but surely you're talking about the strength of the Razor. Isn't it a bad idea at this point to try and 5-man into DC and take that fight?
The problem is, I don't think MVP, you can't change your identity. You are who you are. That's the number one thing that we talked about after game 1, is that you can't change the players that you have. These players want to dive, Cap. These guys just want to keep getting into engagements. They just lost back-to-back fights, and they're willing to 5-man up again. That should tell you the psychology of MVP more than anything, and DC have played that perfectly. Their understanding is, okay, we're just going to let them crash onto us, and we're going to be passive-aggressive, wait for them to overcommit, then we just lash out all at once. DC, again, look, they're just ready for this fight. They're sitting behind this Razor who's got a full Shiva's completed, coming in right now. They're saying to MVP, go for him. What's the best that you can do? At worst, Soxa will get the relocate off.
I mean, I really like the fact that they were in a position where they potentially could have run forward and tried to defend that tier 1, but they said no. The way that MVP Phoenix could initiate from that jungle area, they could split us apart, they could get in multiple entrances in on us. We'll just hold and defend the tier 2 and not take the risk on that team fight. And once MVP Phoenix are done with taking that tier 1 tower, backing out, they're going to go for the smoke. They run into Ferret, the Shivas gets the division and the slow on 2 of these heroes. Moo, he'll take QO while the rest of the team looks for Dubu. The chain cross though, oh no, DC, they may have just gone into a trap of their own making. DC still pushing forward though, have the damage coming out over time onto Ferret. They might be able to get this one. Weeha slows him down, manages to get the call, but he goes straight for MP. Looking to be able to take out that ghoul. A bouncing shuriken lays onto the Earth Spirit though. 2 down as they continue to kite and kite. Digital Chaos. Weeha unable to get anybody on to him. They're gonna have to go for the relocate out. Might just be able to get the escape. Moog blinks away, and that is a Razor and an Earth Spirit for QO, but they're going to find more. Forev actually with the infest jump forward, they will be able to get more. Moo taken out, and Weeha, his attempt to defend his Razor may have just led into his own doom. Weeha runs himself back to the tier 2 tower. MVP Phoenix not quite pursuing because MP, he's got something else in mind. Saksa, who came back from that relocate, managed to get the tether away, and TP out not quite in time. Rev comes in with a spike carapace, hits the spirit, and stops the TP.
Just a little bit too greedy from DC. They decided to take that fight. Under those circumstances, MVP, they could just respawn for free. And it looked like it was going to be okay at first, but Resolution just got popped so quickly. Yeah. What really enabled them to win that first engagement was that the static link went on forever, took all of the life stealers damage. This time around, MP was able to do so much in this team fight.
Yeah, between his focus of damage and that Chain Frost causing so much havoc, so much magic damage going down, it was rather surprising how quickly our Razor faltered. Digital Chaos, though, not one to be pushed back by just one successful team fight from MVP Phoenix, that are going to stick with game plan and stay grouped up as a 5-man around this Razor, knowing that his strongest point in the game is right now.
Yeah. I think the real issue for DC is that they just got too overexcited. Yeah. That might have been the first time in this game where we saw them take a successful engagement that they started. But at the end of the day, MVP, aggression is what they know best. And their team, you can't really run away from this lineup. There's Track, you've got the Nyx with a Blink Dagger.
Daggers coming out from QO. Many ways for MVP Phoenix to slow down and close that gap between the two teams.
When you commit to a fight against this lineup, you really commit to a fight. It's either you kill everybody or you're going to lose a lot of different heroes. And DC, they're doing what you said, but this time they're doing it with the Ursa instead of the Razor instead of the Ursa.
DC seem reluctant to move the other 3 in a different part of the map. And wait for Weehaw. They will start making their way mid. That being said, if MVP Phoenix get the right kind of initiation, if they're fast enough, and we know they can be
I don't
fast.
like this move from both teams right now. I think that DC, they don't have to be that afraid. Just because of the relocate that can happen. And meanwhile, MVP, they were trying to take a 4-man engagement, but there's no way for PA to connect to them. At earliest, he can go like this, but he would have been way too late to that engagement. DC's doing the smart thing right now. They're utilizing their Wisp.
Still farming relatively close to each other, as you said. They seem to still be rather scared. They're trying to do this separation where they have the Wisp +1 farming away, but they seem very reluctant to fully separate themselves. As a result, it may slow down some of their farm. We do have some big-time items. Apparently, Ursa is going to be able to pick up a free kill on a Lich, but he will have some trouble. Get out of here. The relocate save is there. But this may still be a support for support. And with the track kill, and we'll play into the favor, but it looks like MVP Phoenix not going to try for it. They know DC are on their way and will be able to defend the relocate back. So 30 minutes in, 18-22. Digital Chaos just found themselves a pick and will have some very big items coming in for them, as Resolution is looking to complete, I believe, a BKB for himself.
Moose just got his.
Moo just picked up his. Weehaw about to get a BKB as well. On the side of MVP Phoenix, QO is about to pick up his BKB, and MP perhaps an Assault Cuirass, but I think DC's Power Spike is going to be a little bit more threatening.
Yeah. More importantly, they've got options. And in the previous game, they didn't really. They pretty much just had to wait for MVP to slip up. But this time, they're allowed to play aggressively. And this Roshan is probably going to be the next big engagement for either side. As neither side really wants to give it up. DC, they want to make sure that they can grab it on Weehaw so he can make those aggressive plays without any kind of fear of repercussions. MVP, they're not 100% sure what they want to do here.
2 BKBs for 1. Rev will be able to get an initiation on Resolution. This does kind of scroll his team fight possibilities, but the Wisp is going to be able to heal some of this up. The BKB start going off. QO looking for his target. He goes on to Misery, but the roll away, Misery will be able to get the space. Weehaw, meanwhile, is going to look towards QO, but QO's chasing Resolution. They've got the track onto him. They've got the extra movement speed. It just needs Saksa with the save. Once again in the clutch, the Wisp provides the saving grace. Oh, but a dagger execution from QO eliminates Misery, and now they play forward. You said it, Blitz. They just cannot get away from MVP Phoenix. Once they commit to a fight, they have to win it, or else there are going to be several casualties.
Man, that mana burn just destroyed that team fight. Resolution could not get anything off. His static link barely did anything. And although Sox has been on top of the ball with all of his relocates, again, can't run away from this team fight very easily. That's a fresh gem that they just picked up and lost. And we talked about how the Aegis was going to be the next main objective for either side. And instead, MVP is just going to pick it up for free. And DC, all they can do is wait to confirm what they already know.
There it is. Aegis into the hands of QO. Digital Chaos immediately moved to the opposite side of the map, just trying to get themselves some sort of free farm before MVP. Is this a point they've got the Aegis? They've got this BKB and an Assault Cuirass coming in for MP. Is this the point where they try and take some further objectives?
Yeah, I think this is the downside of their lineup is they don't really have tower hitters because they have 4 melee heroes. So what they're looking to do is get kills, then push towers as a result of those kills. Can't really just go for a straight up assault with that Aegis like you'd like to see on a lot of these tower hitting teams.
Right.
So for MVP to really take a fight, probably just have to smoke up, look for an engagement.
Ooh, and an axe actually complete for the Nyx Assassin. It's going to make things rather difficult for Digital Chaos, especially when it comes to pushing high ground, that's for sure. They have a gem in the hands, thanks to Misery apparently dropping that one earlier. Didn't actually notice that, but Digital Chaos, just like game number 1, buys an early gem, feeling they've got this opportunity to make a big momentum swing and lose a fight, lose the gem. And obviously that means the net worth is going to go down, down, down. Actually, about a 7,500, 8,000 gold swing there in the last 5 minutes or so.
XP in a similar situation, and MVP, we talked about it. They've got to get kills. They're going to send QO forward, but Forev is just hunting right now, trying to get whatever he can.
Problem is, there is going to be this constant Wisp split push maneuver. It's going to be Saksa and Resolution. Once again, they're going to couple him with the Razor.
Not as bad to deal with, though, as that Morphling. This one's going to be a little bit slower, and there are outer towers for them to have to deal with. So MVP realized, okay, DC don't even want to take this fight or try to slow this down, so going to give up this tower. And QO, he's not going to do it very quickly, but...
Smoke up DC. Looking for their initiation. They don't want to grab the agents here, so instead they're going to grab Fatty Tray, take the Guardian Greaves out of the equation. They've done so successfully. They're going to turn it on to Forev next. Weehaw with the BKB will rip him asunder, but Duo and MP have just taken out the Wiz, and now they're trying to track down Resolution. But between his BKB and the Mewtwo's movement speed, he's managing to kite QO quite expertly. QO makes the long jump over the side, but still loses his Aegis as Weehaw eliminates him. Time for round 2. MP pops back out, goes for Resolution, and slow him down with the open wounds. They've got him. Can they actually take the rest of this? So Weehaw, oh, they certainly can. Holy cow, the damage is too much. MVP Phoenix still managed to win it. With only 2 of their cores alive, they take down the Ursa and the Razor and get to tier 2.
They had to expend so much for that defense as DC thought they had it for a quick second. They all started grouping up as if they had won the fight. But MVP, they swing the tide so quickly. And QO just throwing out daggers, trying to catch whatever he can, and this is a very quick tower for them.
And the ultimate comes out, Misery, nice flame break, but it's still not enough to keep him alive. Still though, QO is going to take out here. Now Weehaw starts beating into MP. MP, knowing that he may be dead here, starts going for Saksa. He still has an invest combination. The creep wave just spawned. Why did you run away from his fire? Oh no! Couldn't quite make it in. Loses his life because of it, and what could have been a get out of jail free card.
He was so... it's like the roughest way to die. I think for a second he thought he had it.
Yeah. Halfway through the animation, but no. And that makes the buyback well worth it from the Ursa.
Oh,
Weehaw can't afford to die. Blink forward, misses the stun, but
can
still
maybe just
can
hide him
slow him down. BKB goes out. Weehaw turns, fights for Rev, but Rev burrows underground.
And another BKB charge utilized by that Ursa. Precious few remaining in DC. They did manage to get the gem back, which is huge for them. And more importantly, both of those core pickoffs are going to kind of reset the pace of the game. They can now reestablish a little bit of control using that gem. Really like to see a gem pickup once again on MVP though, if they can.
I don't think they've even bought a gem yet. They were just using Miseries earlier. Maybe they figure, yeah, Misery will just deliver gems to us. We don't need to buy it ourselves. Yeah, it
worked
did.
last game.
Wow. Until there was 4 gems on the ground.
Yeah, and DC
For
at bottom. Gotta get out.
The scuttling little bug, not quite fast enough to find the pick on the Razor. MVP Phoenix. Are they gonna go and actually, I mean, I'm not even sure why I'm asking this. MVP Phoenix, they're probably gonna go for this tier 2 tower push, right?
You already know.
They're not one to shy away from engagements, that's for sure.
Man, these guys have only been taught aggression. There's only one way to play this game for them, and that's just to continue to battle it out. And Resolution continues to build up those defensive items, as it looks like he's going to go for this butterfly next. Very good item pickup decision for him. Is this bottom tower now going to get assaulted?
Forev in an excellent position here with this burrow, but they've already pinged him out in Misery. They see him. Force staff forward. Oh, tried to get a little tricky there. But no pick, just a tier 2 so far for MVP Phoenix.
Dude, that was
Top
awesome.
lane is being pushed out. He's got the evasion chance now. That will actually prolong his life by quite a large amount. As there's not going to be an MKB anytime soon for MVP Phoenix.
No. And MVP, I think, because of the fact that they have the dire advantage, are simply just waiting for the next Roshan to spawn. They decide they're going to take out all the tier 2 towers that they can for free. DC is going to do the same thing, just trying to avoid that fight, but this Roshan fight's going to determine probably whoever takes the first out of racks, in all honesty.
They do get a tier 2 in return. Resolution was purely just pushing the creep wave, would show up with the plasma field, and Shiva's terrified that MVP Phoenix could jump him at any point. Lets the creep push down the tier 2 tower, while MVP Phoenix not willing to stop that push because they want to maintain an iron hand control over this Roshan pit, giving none of the map control over to Digital Chaos.
Yeah. For MVP right now, you just keep pushing out the creep waves pretty aggressively. Wait for this Roshan to spawn. Looks like they're going to make a move before that. Maybe they're anticipating DC getting ready for this Rosh anyways, and they just want to meet them halfway.
Especially playing on this high ground area could be quite successful fight for MVP Phoenix, or maybe getting the initiation onto Resolution.
Ready for this though.
Yeah, they certainly are. Resolution, he's going to have to be quick on the timing of the BKB, but it seems like it's not needed, not yet anyway.
Yeah, I think MVP, that move right there was kind of unnecessary, because they don't have the best vision, but they were trying to meet DC halfway, hoping that DC would come contest for this Rosh, and they're doing it again. They're hoping that right now DC just smokes up, walks up blind, carefree, and makes the mistake of running into them, and DC's fanned out around this Razor.
Weehaw on the side here. His entrance into the fight could be critical, but they've already got Resolution. He wasn't passing up with a BKB, and now Saksa has to save him, but he's successful. Once again, he saves the big carry. QO, though, with the free kill on Misery. As the big pick comes out, now he's got the bash 2 on the move. Burrowed on in. Fred managed to get the stun onto Weehaw. Resolution pops his BKB, though, starts draining the damage of QO. Misery comes back with a buyback. They need to be able to find something more than just supports here. Force staff forward, managed to get the stun onto Resolution, and with the BKB's down, they've actually got to play this careful. Misery unable to catch Forev. Now the jump onto Resolution. They managed to get the slow down with the stun. Burrow on forward. Forev finds yet another stun with that spike carapace. Resolution not going to make an entrance out of this one. Has to buy back. Digital Chaos losing massively in that team fight, and they can't even ensure a fight still, as MVP Phoenix looking quite healthy now that the Guardian Greaves is popped.
This is just so funny looking. Forev just chilling, waiting for moments to inch himself forward with that force staff while he's burrowed. That 7-second stun doing absolute work in these fights.
You know, he will have the opportunity. There it is, jumps forward, managed to get the spike, Carapace, the follow-up stun, a long kick to misery. It gets a little bit of space, but MP within range will be able to follow him up. And now, oh no! Wait, Forever just found another one. Get two supports in the background. What is this bug doing? Oh my god, 2-0! That's not your bounce! It's not your bounce, Fred! It gets pulled back in the evasion! Oh my god! 2-0! Not like this! Stop the match! They're dead already! Oh god!
They ramped it up so quickly. 0.
Alright! MVP Phoenix just like that! They slam game number 2 back in the face of Digital Chaos after a disappointing result. And game number 1, making this series go even, 1-1.
You think for a second, you're just like, that's an immobile bug. It's okay as long as I'm out of range. He immediately force-steps forward, catches resolution, and the game ends with a whimper, not a bang, as this time around, no split push shenanigans as MVP take this one clean.
MVP Phoenix